4th. So
I'm being told that the agenda has not been posted for the public.
I'm not aware of that.
Yes.
The agenda has not been posted for the public, according to Delegate Kerr.
Could someone send Karen the link again? She can't get in.
Can you handle it?
Yes.
All right. Okay. And Karen Young needs a link. I guess that's us too. I don't know.
Hi. No, thank God, because we now have another agenda, right? That would have looked really stupid. So. I have a whole list of people that I sent it to.
And you might want to mute.
Well, it is 9 a.m. We'll wait till that phone call's done.
One, two, three, four.
Okay.
I don't actually think we have an
Do we have a quorum here?
quorum.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1. We have 4.
Yeah, Karen still doesn't have the link.
There's 5. Delegate Pippi is on. His video is, yeah, there he is. So
Bingo.
Meeting, sorry. I didn't want to.
Well, we're wait. Make sure your breakfast is through and we can start. No, geez. Okay, folks, it's 9 a.m. Let's call this meeting to order and we begin with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, let's take a look at the meeting, the minutes of the meeting as of January 28th.
I move to approve the minutes of the meeting of January 28th.
Second.
Second.
Senator Young seconds, that's good. Any discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Sorry.
I need to abstain.
So noted. So the meeting, the minutes of January 28th, moved and seconded. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Do we have
Okay.
enough voters to
Well, let's see.
short with,
minutes?
Have 5.
Well, Delegate Cox abstained.
yeah, we're 1 short.
All right.
Well, then, why don't we
Has-
postpone that for a few
Has
minutes?
someone sent Delegate Lewis the link?
Let's hold up a second.
I say, has someone sent Delegate Lewis Young a link?
Yeah, I just sent it.
You just sent it?
Mhm.
Well, we have 2 of our senators with us, Senator Young, Senator Huff. That's good. We okay now?
Need to vote on the minutes.
Let's try it again. Let's get moving. A review of the minutes of
Is-
January
Is
28th.
Delegate Lewis Young in? She said she has a correction to the minutes.
All right, we'll hold. All right, the link's been sent. And
She's in the waiting room.
Take over.
I'm here.
Yes, yes. Good morning, Delegate Young.
Good morning. Louis Young, please.
Let me try that again. Good morning, Louis Young.
And in a minute, you'll hear why.
Okay. Well, let's call the meeting to order. We've got our pledge, review of the meeting, the minutes of January 28th. We've had a move to second, a move to approve and second. All in favor of that?
I have
Discussion.
a correction. I
Madam
have corrections.
I'm sorry, Madam Louis Young. Delegate
Thank
Louis.
you. First of all, on page 4 of the minutes, no, 3. Senator Young state that the bill should be removed. It doesn't say what bill. He claims it's something about parks or agriculture, but it doesn't say what bill. It just says, states the bill should be removed, has requested it to be a state bill. He asked Senator Pinsky if bill has legs. Anyway,
That's a cemetery bill.
fine, it needs to state that.
Thought it was the tree bill.
Well,
The
whatever it
reforestation.
is, see, we don't know.
Well, I remember, I'm sorry, that was the first meeting we voted to remove the cemetery bill from the agenda.
Correct. We did vote to remove it from the agenda. That's correct.
And we removed the tree bill last time. Because it was a statewide bill.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone have that? I'll move on to my other changes.
Please.
Okay, the last page of the bill. Delegate Young asks about the liquor board cleanup bills, and the very next line, Delegate Young moves to approve the meeting and Delegate Louis Young seconds. There is no Delegate Young, there's only a Delegate Louis Young. I suspect, and I'm only one person at a time, I suspect that the references to Delegate Young are to Senator Young, which is precisely why I try to keep Louis Young for more clarity.
Sounds
Understood.
like you moved and seconded your own motion. That's creative.
Yes.
Yeah, I wish I could do that more frequently. But I would guess, especially on the liquor board bill, that you meant Senator Young.
Senator Young, you have a comment on that one?
Sounds correct.
All right. Well, Delegate Louis Young, you're correct.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've heard that before. All right. Any other comments before we move on? All right. What about the minutes of January 28th? What are we doing? Moved and seconded.
Chair,
Yes.
What is
Delegate
the-
Cox.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the date of the email when the minutes were emailed to us. I'm having trouble locating them.
Yeah.
Wednesday evening, the second, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I hope that that's with the noted corrections.
Are you satisfied, Delegate Cox?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll look for that. Thank you.
All right.
Move to
Just to
approve
be-
the minutes as amended.
Second.
Second. All in favor approving the minutes as amended? In favor, aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
So that's one abstention. All right, the minutes have been approved. Let's talk about the old business issue, shall we? And the one item that comes up, of a couple of others, of course, is the sheriff's salary bill. And Senator Huff spoke on that issue last time. Senator Huff, do you wish to carry the ball again this morning?
Yeah, since it's my proposal, I'll be glad to reiterate some points and some new points. So I sent around to the delegation. And just so you know, this is based on, and I did modeling after Charles County and Harford County, who are counties. Actually, Charles County is a smaller population, and I'm sure Harford County will be a smaller population when the census numbers, given how Frederick County is growing. They set their sheriff at the rate of a Maryland State Police Lieutenant Colonel. The sheriff currently makes $125. This would put the sheriff at $175. The sheriff's not had a raise since, sorry, people are popping up on the chats. The sheriff's we've not addressed this in 8 years. So I realize that it's a little bit of a jump, but this is what happens when you don't address these every 4 years. And so it would model it after Harford and Charles County. And just for some information that I sent around, if you look at, these are not full, our sheriff currently makes $125,000. Anne Arundel, Baltimore City, Montgomery County, Prince George's County. I realize they're larger jurisdictions, but they're not full service. Basically, the sheriff in those counties just serves warrants and, operates the jail. And in Baltimore City, they don't even operate the jail. The state of Maryland does. Anne Arundel, these are non-full service sheriffs, make more than ours, 134, 138, 161, 154. And Carroll County, that was approved unanimously by the Carroll County delegation, which I'm a member of. They're going to put their sheriff, which again, Carroll County, much smaller than Frederick County, full service. So that sheriff's going to $140,000. Even Little Caroline County has legislation in front of JPR right now that would pay more than our sheriff. And there's also legislation in front of the Senate, which I think we're going to vote on today because I have to leave here in 20 minutes to vote on, and this is on our list. Senator Jackson's bill, Senate Bill 74, which would put the clerk of the courts, including our clerk of the court, at $146,000, which is $20,000 more than the sheriff of Frederick County makes. So last week I made a proposal, hearing that I thought it was a compromise. I thought paying the same as the sheriff of Harford and Charles was completely fair, but trying to find a compromise, I offered to do $150 the first 2 years and $175 the second 2 years. And what I'd like to do at this time is just make my motion on the $150. I think that's very fair. That's a $25,000 increase. We can talk about anything after that, if that passes or not. But I think given that the criteria that I just laid out, that, the pay in other counties, paying our sheriff a similar rate, and in this case, even if you pass this, it'll be lower than counties of similar population. I would hope that we could, I think going to 150 at a minimum is a fair proposal. I'm offering that. And I would hope the committee, look, I know that this can be partisan. I know the current sheriff's a Republican. We don't know if the next sheriff's going to be Republican. I've always believed very strongly we should support and pay for our law enforcement. That's why I pushed through the state's attorney salary, which is higher than this last term. So thank you. And I would move my motion at 150. Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All right, moved and seconded.
Is
Senator
that-
Young is proposing, hold it. Senator Young's proposing a salary of $150,000.
That's Senator Huff.
Sorry,
That's Senator Huff. Is that
Senator Huff.
150 for the full 4 years?
I'm saying that he should go 150 after the election. If that passes, then we can talk about the 175. So, but I'm saying he goes to 150. That's what I'm proposing right now.
that's all that you're proposing.
That's all I'm
150.
proposing at the moment. Yeah.
And seconded. Discussion continued. Yes, I'm sorry. Delegate Lewis Young.
I would like to, since we've brought a lot of data to the screen, I would like to bring forward a piece of the data that has not been analyzed. The discussion has been frequently, let's compare our population to Hartford County's population. So that's comparing apples to oranges. And I'll tell you why. We have 4 municipalities in Frederick County with police forces, a total population of 91,000 of our total population, 272, citizens pay for their municipal police force. 1/3 of our county is being doubly taxed for a municipal police force and a county sheriff department. Let's look at Hartford. There are 3 municipalities with a paid police force, total 30,000 people, or 12% of their population. So comparing the salary of Hartford to Frederick does not take into account the fact that so many of our citizens are covered by municipal police. And yes, the Frederick County Sheriff provides jail services. So given that discussion into the equation and the fact that there are other concerns such as a large jump, what about other staff people paying the sheriff more than the county exec, I would like to offer an amendment that we pay the sheriff. And by the way, this is not political, and I do resent that accusation. This is about fairness, equity, looking at all the numbers. So I'd like to put forward an amendment of $140,000 the first 2 years and $150,000 the second 2 years.
Well, you can't offer an amendment to an amendment.
Good point.
I thought we were voting on the bill.
No, I offered an amendment to put it at, where it sounds like we're pretty close. I offered an amendment to put it at 150.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm suggesting the second 2 years.
So you're suggesting 140,000 for the
First
first
two.
2 years, correct?
First 2 years and
Then it goes-
150
And
the
then
second.
150,000 the next year, the 2 years following,
Yeah,
correct?
yes.
And so the motion in front of us, which I made
Yes,
and Delegate Pippy seconded, was 150.
correct. Okay, moved and seconded at 150. Any further discussion? Well, let's vote on that, shall we? All in favor of 150,000? But excuse me, Senator Huff, again, restate your positions so we can vote on
Well,
it.
and you've got, it's, my motion right now is to go to 150 immediately following the election year. Delegate Dan Cox has his hand up, by the way, I see.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Delegate Cox, sorry. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make it very clear on the record that I believe the sheriff should be paid at the rate that he's working, and that would be 175 when you look at the factors. But as an amendment compromise, I support the senator's amendment. When you look at the sheriff serving warrants and working with the local police and the added burden that puts on the department, I don't think that's a double taxation at all. In fact, it's an added burden for the sheriff. So, and plus, when you look at all of that, with respect to Delegate Lewis Young, the Hartford County Sheriff is still paid more than 150. So, with that, I would third the motion for Senator Huff.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, are we prepared to vote on this? Good. Moving it to 150,000. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Two opposed, 3.
3.
Do it again. All in favor, I'm sorry, I didn't get the count here. All in favor of Senator Huff at 150, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
2, 3, 4. That's 4 votes. If my counting is correct, all opposed. Again, 1, 2, 3.
So that amendment fails then. Because we needed 5.
Correct. Well, that's on the, we'll move that from the discussion table to the,
Well, then
Discussion.
I would, to move this along then,
thank you.
well, I'd go back to Delegate Young's amendment then to go to 140 and 150 to at least do something.
Second,
Ms. Young.
I'll second.
well done. Discussion. Well, all right, so 140,000 for the first 2 years and 150,000 the next 2. Is that correct, Delegate Young, Lewis Young? Okay, all in favor? Indicate aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Cox, you're opposed or abstain?
No, I voted aye.
You voted aye. All right, well, that's unanimous. Thank you. As stated, it's 140,000 for the first 2 years and then 150,000 the next 2. Good. Any other discussion before we move on? All right,
We have to vote on the bill as amended.
thank you, Senator. That's what it says here. All those please indicate your preference on the bill as amended. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Landslide. Passed as amended. Thank you. Okay. The next order of business is the liquor board bills. And who would like to carry the ball on those?
Well,
Alex,
I or
Senator Young.
Delegate Pippi, either one, but
Yeah.
well, the first one is
2786 is alcoholic beverage licenses population. And the second is Alcoholic Beverage Act of 2022. 2786 and 2627. Well,
Okay,
yes, Delegate Pippi.
go ahead, Delegate Pippi.
Sure, I sent in the LR just so that the delegation members could just see the language. We technically last week voted to approve as a delegation bill the removing the language and the renewal date bill. And so I don't technically think we have to vote on that bill, but looks like 3 different people put the bill in. So I don't care necessarily it could be converted to a delegation bill. I'm glad everyone's on top of it. I just want to make sure it was going to get done. So I put it in, but we don't technically have to vote on it again because we already did. The only one that we haven't voted on, I think, is Senator Young's big bill that has a lot of different things in it. So if you want to address that, Senator Young, I think the other stuff we don't have to.
Well, the big bill was just the correction bill that was recommended that they have numerous corrections, which are all technical, and I would assume we would go forward with that.
And the LR number on that, Senator, is that the technical changes to alcohol code?
The LR number is 2730 and
Right.
2627.
Yes. 2627 and 2730. All right, to iterate, 2627 is Frederick County Alcoholic Beverage Act of 2022, LR 2030, Liquor Board technical changes to alcohol code. All right. Discussion? Yes.
Dawn, sorry.
Madam Sugar.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity just to clarify a few things that Delegate Pippi was pointing to. this Alcoholic Beverage Act of 2022 does encompass all of the changes that we had put forth, and that does include some other things that I believe he was trying to allude to. This act includes everything that we put forth. So just so the delegation is clear on that this includes everything, not just the corrections, because what I found with working with the bill drafters, which I want to just thank the delegation for giving me that opportunity to work directly with them. Mrs. Clark, who was the bill drafter, did an amazing job at capturing and cross-referencing all of our bills. And these all ended up being what she thought was corrections to some bills, and not adding language or not changing, but going in and correcting things and deleting and cross-filing. So she did an amazing job with that and put it all in one bill. And I've not seen it done this way before, and it's amazing. It's very efficient. And I hope that this is what will go forward. And if there's any clarification on the items in it, I'm willing to speak to that as well. But I wanted to thank the delegation for, this is amazing. This right here is really efficient.
Well, it's an amazing delegation. Senator Young.
It's efficient, but if somebody disagrees with any one part of it, the whole thing's dead. It's not the way it's done. I mean, if there's one thing in there that's somebody disagree with, it could kill all of it. Now, I don't know if there is one thing in there, because I haven't seen the comprehensive bill and I don't know what's in it.
Okay. What other options are we looking at here then? Options?
Real briefly, I apologize. I have to, as you all know, my committee's voting at 9:30, so I need to head down there. I've dropped the sheriff's bill. I'll do the amendments to reflect what the delegation has done today. And then I've dropped, because Monday's the deadline. I know there's a tax bill that Delegate Krim has. I assume we're going to deal with that when she comes back. So, but with that, obviously I won't move anything forward. I just wanted to get stuff in before our deadline. But with that, I apologize. I got to go vote in committee.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion or comments on this?
Well,
All right. Delegate,
Senator Pippy. Delegate Pippy.
Yeah, so we kind of have an issue, because last week we voted two bills, which one was the or greater fraction, the other one was the renewal. So those are done. I mean, we just got to drop those. And the good news is there's drafts and backs, so we can do that, and that takes care of that. The only question is for this Omni bill, if we move on that, we'd have to cut out those portions so there's not duplicity. So I don't know if Dawn just wants to just give a very succinct and brief explanation of what's in this Omni bill, and then whether we can cut out that other stuff so that we're not putting in two bills for the same thing.
Good point. Dawn?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to run through just a very short summary of what Tiffany Clark, she's the bill drafter, worked on. And again, she just did amazing at cross-filing a lot of things. So in summary, I'm just going to take our summary that the delegation had in front of it. And I'm going to go down, and you guys have voted to move forward the census, removing the major fraction. The renewal timeframe, you've agreed to extend that timeframe. So those two things are, like Delegate Pippy had said, are off the table. Included in this bill, this Omni bill, is the Maryland residency, where we put language in there that would say they have to be a resident of Maryland, and they must remain a resident of Maryland for the duration of the license year for that time frame. So that's the Maryland residency part. Do you want me to stop at each one and let the delegation speak, or summarize it and then let the delegation speak?
Let's do it one at a time.
Okay, so Maryland residency.
Discussions, discussions on that point. Delegate Lewis Young.
I don't have my hand up.
Oh, well, you had that yellow circle. I figured you had a pithy comment. Guess not.
No.
All right, move on. Dawn? Seeing no other discussion points.
Delegate Pippy.
All right, Delegate Pippy.
Is this the one where we're removing the requirement to be a Frederick County resident and instead making it just being a resident of the state?
Yes, sir.
So I know that Delegate Cox said there was some discussion about that the last time. So I mean, if anyone has any thoughts about that, whether they think that's a good idea, not a good idea, that's what that means.
All right.
Cox says his hand up.
I better sharpen this up. I'm sorry, Dan. Delegate Cox. Yes.
So I apologize to the chair. I'm not seeing the updated bills, but yes, I do recall, as Delegate Pippi mentioned, that there was some discussion as to jurisdiction on that. And I would think that we should table it till we examine that more. I think we need more discussion. I think there was a question as to, if I recall, as to the jurisdiction of the liquor board over someone who's not a resident. And I'd like to see some information about that. I don't think we've seen that yet.
So you are proposing a motion to Delegate Cox?
To table that until we can get some more information that we had discussed.
Is there a second to that?
Comment. That's the problem with throwing everything in. If we table it, we're tabling the whole bill, and there's a very good chance it could all be dead because we're going past the line. Maybe we could amend it out, but
Okay. Any other discussion on that? Comments? Delegate Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The deadline in the House to drop bills is next Thursday. We don't meet as a delegation again until next Friday. So anything we don't resolve today, I believe will have to go through House rules.
yeah,
Right.
our deadline is Monday.
And if I could mention again, I think it would be helpful if we could review the information, since this is a new bill. Has this been provided? I don't see it in my email box, but that doesn't mean I don't have it. I'm not seeing it.
Yes, County Executive Gardner.
Okay, just to be clear, you're speaking right now about the bill proposed by Delegate Krim and Senator Huff on changing the property tax collection in the county.
We're on alcohol bills.
Okay, all right. When you come back to that, then I'm sorry. I have trouble following you sometimes. Thank you.
No worries. All right, any other discussion? Okay, where are we on this? So we can move. Dawn? Yes, Dawn.
Delegate Cox had a motion to table. He did not have a second.
Well, this may or may not be out of order, but Cox's motion to table, is there any second to that?
And I would like to withdraw my motion, hearing that it's now been combined into an omnibus bill, which I don't have yet. I would like to read it before I vote on it, but I agree with Senator Young that creates a problem. So, however, maybe we can vote to strike that particular part of the omnibus bill after it's, I don't know the procedure on that.
Are you offering to withdraw the bill, Delegate Cox, or not?
I'm not proposing the bill. I mean, I am withdrawing the motion. I'm withdrawing the motion to
You're
table.
withdrawing the motion, okay. All right. Senator Young.
Yeah, I have a problem with this whole thing too. This is the first I've heard that this was all being combined in one bill. I mean, we've got to deal with this in the legislature. And if something like this is happening, we ought to know about it.
Right. All right, Dawn.
And it was the first that I had seen anything like this as well when I got it in my email last night. So I had no idea it was put together. I thought it was a push forward from the delegation. So I thought, wow, this is an efficiency that we're going to gain on it. And if I could just bring a few situational awareness points to the Maryland residency. There was a previous bill that was filed, House Bill 902, where other jurisdictions did adopt this bill. And those jurisdictions at the time were, and I just want to brief go down through here. There were other ones that put into effect to have the Maryland residency picked up. Mr. Pippi, we did discuss that we would get an AG opinion on it, and not we, but the delegation would have to ask for that. And I believe that's where Delegate Cox was going, is that we needed more information from the AG. Am I understanding that correctly, Mr. Cox?
Senator Delegate Cox.
I don't recall those. I don't have that in front of me. So I do remember the discussion, and I do know that I haven't even seen the updated bill or any response to that. So that's kind of where I am. I apologize. I'm in the dark on some of the exact details.
Well, seems to be some nebulosity here, people in the dark, et cetera. What are our options, folks, so we can move on?
Well, we have an option on the Maryland thing to discuss it later. And if there's another bill in with other counties and we want to do it, we could amend on to that bill.
We're discussing the Maryland residency issue.
Yes. So if next Friday we discuss it and say we want to do it, we could try to amend on to that bill.
All right.
If we don't want to do it, then it doesn't matter.
Delegate Kerr.
Delegate Pippi was ahead of me, Mr. Chair.
Nothing personal, Delegate Pippi, go ahead.
Let's, and this is obviously at the pleasure of the chair, but Don, why don't you just go through quickly the brief points of the bill, and at the end, we can decide whether we want to carve stuff out or just go without the whole thing. And I think that's in everyone's best interest for time. Just quickly go through the points of the Omni bill, and then at the end, the delegation members can decide whether we want to cut that thing up or just not move forward.
All right, well done, Pippi.
One other comment
One
first.
second. Pardon me, Senator. Pardon me.
Senator Kerr was ahead of me.
Yes, Kerr.
Along the same lines as Delegate Pippi, I was just going to point out that we put these changes in at the request of the Liquor Board. And if the Liquor Board indicates that this omnibus bill addresses all of their concerns in a manner that they wanted them addressed, I have no problem moving forward.
All right.
Well,
any other? Yes, Senator Young.
well, we still have another option too. We dropped all the bills singly, which is what's on the agenda and what I thought we were going to discuss today.
Well, we have a number. Yes, we do have 6 of those bills.
Well, and as Delegate Pippi pointed out, we already did a couple of them.
True. Dawn, your hands up.
I just wanted to point out that House Bill 902, that was passed in 2020, where several counties picked up the Maryland residency requirement. So I can, if anybody wanted to use that as a point of reference, where there were several other counties that did pick up this durational, what they call durational residency is the name of the bill. That was picked up in 2020. Ours never got addressed in that time frame, which it should have been. And that's why we had put it in this session. So I just want to make sure that's clear on the duration of the residency so that the delegation is clear. I'm going to continue through on the other points like Delegate Pippi had asked, and then we can come back but I want to put that out there as a point of reference. So the other things that are picked up in this bill are the online postings. They put in here, and I know Delegate Krim had some concerns, but we do address these online postings in this bill. So I'm just going to summarize that. And I know that Delegate Cox had said he wanted to see that. And the last thing that was on there was the repeal of the signatures, which Mr. Pippi was on the Liquor Board when that occurred. There was a mistake made on our staffing side, and we just want to fix that signature requirement. We removed it because of the safety, because there was obviously other issues there. And we put a sign up and we do other advertising that repeals the signatures. So that was just a correction. And that's what's in this bill in a summary.
Okay.
Senator Young.
All right. That's not all the inclusive things. So if it's just that, that's a separate item. We still have all the other bills. I understood from what was said that all the bills were combined in that. That seems not to be the case. It corrects those things. It doesn't correct all the other bills we have.
Understood.
All right, so where are we on this? So we can move this along.
I'm personally okay with that, but we still do have Delegate Cox is concerned about the Maryland part.
All right. Well, any other discussion or comments? Next step on this is, help me out here.
Need a motion.
Our next move. Well, what are we planning to do, ladies and gentlemen?
I mean, I thought we were going to go through the bill. I mean, so there's things that we've already agreed to move forward in another bill. So we'd have to amend those out. And then Don, do you want to go through the other points of the bill? So we talked about the residency. There's some questions there. What else is in that bill?
I think she just did go through that.
Yeah, I just tried to keep it very brief. Online posting was the other one.
Right, and we had questions about that in the last delegation meeting.
Okay, and the repeal of the signature requirement, that's a correction.
Okay.
Okay, and then the 6 and 7 that I have on my summary list that went to the delegation is just the removing irrelevant laws or redundant laws. And those were pretty cut and dry. It's just redundancy of alcohol awareness is in these laws, but needs to be, it got repeated twice. So those seem to be, and I don't want to put words in, but if you read through the bill, and I believe Delegate Cox would like to read through them, you'll see a repetitiveness of just correcting language. So those I feel are straightforward. So it sounds like the only thing in question here is the Maryland residency is a concern and the online posting was a concern. Everything else should be corrective or adopted.
Okay.
Senator Young?
Well, I think we're in good shape then. The bill's been dropped. So we don't have to do anything at this point. We can hold it and discuss it next week. And if we don't agree with it, we can withdraw it. If we're okay, the bill's in.
All right. Now, just for the record, what are we holding?
We're not holding anything. The bill's in. We're holding those two items to discuss next week. And at that point, then we decide whether to leave the bill in, change the bill, or pull it out. But it's in, so we're safe.
Okay. Any other discussion? Comments? Delegate Kerr, yeah.
Do we want to go ahead and make this a vote to make this a delegation bill then? And go ahead and move it forward and get it off the agenda?
No, I think I just outlined it. It's in. It was dropped on us. The bill's been dropped. So all we have to do, it's there next week. If we want to go forward, make it a delegation bill and go forward, change that. If we want to kill it, we pull it out. If we want to amend it, we amend it.
I guess my question was, are we finished with this issue and we can move on with the agenda, or is there anything formally we have to do?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We don't have to do anything more.
That's it. All right. All right. Then
Mr.
we will
Chair.
move forward.
Mr. Chair, real briefly.
Yeah, yes. Delegate Cox.
Real briefly, is it possible to have the chair request the Attorney General's office to give us a quick review on that issue of the residency? Right, so that we can just have that information
Well, I can do that. Is that the pleasure of the committee?
and circulate it maybe. Thank you.
Yes, I can certainly do that. Any other points? Okay, let's continue on. Where are we on these alcohol bills again, please? We're done, right?
No, I think we only approved 2 in the past.
Each have
Is
2
that
of them.
correct,
I've got
Delegate?
6 up here. 2730, the liquor board technical changes to the alcohol code.
That's the one we're just talking about.
Indeed. So where are we on this?
There's the fraction bill, and I think we approved that previously. So we don't have to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The fraction bill, that's 2885, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
The population issue and then the renewal date. Those are the items that I have here.
Well, I hope-
2784. Sorry, go ahead, Senator.
I hope we've got all the rest approved because they aren't on my list for today's meeting.
Okay. 2784, the population issue, 2884, the renewal date to January 1. That's what I have here. As far as the liquor board bills for review.
Well, everything's dropped. We can check it out this week, and if there's anything else, we can rediscuss it next week. The bills are in.
Okay.
So if we've missed something, we can cover it then.
We'll go back. All right. Okay, fine. Let's move on. We have here, at least I have on the agenda, property tax legislation. Allegedly will be deferred to the next delegation meeting, but our next delegation meeting is February 10th. So that's beyond the deadline. So we would be discussing this property tax legislation. Delegate Kerr?
Delegate Lewis Young had her hand up first, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Delegate Lewis Young.
Thanks. This bill is very problematic. We haven't seen a copy of the bill. We got a copy of the LR this morning. I tried to reach out to the major municipality in the county. They didn't have an opinion yet. And from what I understand is the municipalities are reluctant to weigh in until they see a bill. There is a strong belief that while it's really not going to affect taxpayers that much, it could negatively impact our municipalities. And we don't know for sure. I mean, I've seen some analysis, but the municipalities haven't weighed in on it. I also haven't seen a robust analysis of how it affects constituents, best case, worst case, in between case. So I'm really not comfortable moving forward with this. And the key bill sponsors are not here to discuss those issues.
These are good points. Well, let's continue. Delegate Kerr, you're up.
Yes, Delegate Krim has not dropped this bill, so there's no opportunity to get a fiscal note to see how legislative services would interpret its effect on the county or the municipalities, and until this bill is dropped, I don't know that we can move forward with it.
Okay, County Executive Gardner. Yes.
Right. Sorry, I had to figure out how to get myself off mute. I think I know that after a year and a half of doing this. This bill, we anticipated as coming. I had talked to Delegate Krim about it in early January. I think on January 3rd, I had a meeting with her about it. And this bill essentially, as I understood what she was trying to do, was she was trying to take the interest charge that is on the second installment of the property tax and change it to the service charge. The service charge is capped at 1.5%, and the county right now charges 1% in October, 1% in November, 1% in December. But it really isn't that straightforward, because if you pay the first half of your installment in July, you get a 1% discount on that first half, which offsets that interest on the second half. So my analysis of that proposal was that county would be able to change its interest on the second payment to the surcharge and be relatively neutral, okay? But we collect taxes for all 12 municipalities. And because we are the administrative agency, we believe that SDAT, which has to approve that service charge every year, would only allow the county to charge the service charge. It wouldn't provide a benefit to the municipalities. So all the municipalities right now have their own policies. They have their own discount rates, their own interest rates. We collect whatever that municipality decides for us to do. And so we estimated, and Joy Schaefer sent you an email this morning, that each municipality would lose revenue from this change. The city of Frederick was the biggest at about $490,000. The other municipalities had smaller amounts of money. So the municipalities in Frederick County have been waiting for this bill so they could actually see what it did and see if that fiscal impact was actually the case. I just saw the LR this morning after this meeting started. In fact, I was reading it while you were doing the alcohol bills, which is why I lost track of where you were. And so, we'd like to do an analysis on this. I will say, I think the analysis that we've done is, we believe is accurate, but I thought the municipalities should know that this would impact them differently than it would impact the county. So MML has a meeting on February 24th that they scheduled to talk about it. I had copied my email to the municipalities to Delegate Krim. So I really feel like this impacts a lot of people, and I don't think you should advance it until you know what the fiscal impact is to the taxpayers under multiple scenarios, which I think is where Delegate Karen Lewis Young was going. And you understand what the municipality's opinion is. And if you understand that the discount that pretty much everybody offers in July, which our senior citizens love, would potentially be removed because that would hold everybody revenue neutral, particularly in the municipalities. One mayor said that's what they would likely do. So I've had one mayor tell me he opposes it. One mayor tell me he's not going to fall on his sword for it. But the majority wants to actually read the bill. So I'm just trying to communicate to you what I know about it. But I haven't had the ability to do much analysis because I only received it today, or the LR today, and not the bill.
All right. Salient points. Senator Young.
Yeah. I was mayor for 16 years, a long, long time ago. I'd never heard a complaint about this and haven't heard one since then. It's coming to us very late. The sponsor's not here to talk about it. Nobody's seen the bill. I would just like to move. This could be handled next year if it's a real problem. I would just like to move. We table it indefinitely.
Second.
Yes, we now have a second.
I have my hand up, Mr. Chair.
I see that. All right, Delegate Cox. Yes, sir.
Well, I was going to ask that we table it till next week. And the reason for that is because Senator Huff has dropped the bill, and it would do exactly then what everyone has mentioned, and that would give us some time to review potentially the fiscal note and any objections rather than just indefinite. I mean, if the point is to try to find out, everyone's positions, I think it would be at least the next step. And then Senator Young, if we do it indefinitely, we could do that after we get the information next week.
All right. Comments on that?
Would you
Senator
be okay
Young?
with that, Senator?
Well, actually, yeah, the comments is that first off, a tabling motion isn't up for discussion.
Right.
You vote it up or you vote it down.
Okay.
So I just wanted to be clear, though, that we can bring it up next week, not to put it off the agenda. If that's acceptable to you, Senator.
No, I just do not think at this point we ought to try to deal with it this year.
So if we table this motion, we're tabling it to the next.
No, my motion was to table it indefinitely, which would
okay.
mean we're not going to hear it this year.
Okay. Motion seconded to table this particular item indefinitely. Okay, all in favor indicate with raising of the hands. Aye. All opposed? One. Okay, it's tabled indefinitely. Solid adverb. Okay, moving on. Next item of business.
I think, sorry, Mr. Chair, I believe
Morgan.
only four votes.
Oh,
For
Mr. Morgan, thank you for that. Let's try that again. I should have counted, my fault. Move to table, is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor, moving to table indefinitely. Well, I count 1, 2, 4. Well, fails. Unless my counting is off. Okay, yes, Louis Young, delegate.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know if you want to handle this now or at another point of the meeting. I think we need to establish some protocol as a delegation as to who's dropping what bills and when. I just heard a bill was dropped. I don't know that we ever agreed. If a bill is dropped, I would think it should come with the approval of this delegation, or at least by the chair or the vice chair who are doing it to, to kind of stay ahead of the process. That and seeing agenda changes.
Point of order. We're still on the other item.
Okay, fine.
Then we can come to that.
Okay.
We haven't disposed of the.
Okay.
So is there another motion on what to do with the bill we were discussing?
I have a
Jesse, Delegate Pippy.
question because we've had a second and a motion. The motion failed. So I have a question on this issue. So where is the bill sponsor? I mean,
Where are we?
there's something going on there, but has anyone had an opportunity to speak with the sponsor, the delegate about this, or?
No one's been able to reach her or knows where she is or why.
Okay. So my only concern was just the word permanently table. I don't necessarily have a major issue with the bill per se, but I didn't know if there was, the problem is we're running out of time and week is the drop deadline. So my only thought was that if there was somehow an option for the sponsor on either the House or the Senate side to, I don't know, communicate their intent with this. Otherwise, we're probably not going to be able to drop it. I mean, but I just want to make sure that I put that out there. It's not necessarily about the merits of the bill. It's just kind of like we don't have, neither the House or the Senate sponsors here to discuss the bill at this point.
I believe
Another meeting until next.
I believe it was indefinitely, not permanently.
I'm sorry?
I believe it was indefinitely, not permanently was the word that was used. Not that makes a difference, but can we just clarify what vote just took place? I think we had 4 votes to table and two, and Mr. Chairman, I don't know how you voted. So can we just clarify that vote one more time? Because I believe it only takes a simple majority to table a motion.
Well, here, this is.
Well, hold it. Let's do that vote again, shall we? As Delegate Kerr suggested. To table, correct? All right, all in favor to table. Well,
No, it's 4-2.
That's 4. All right, Delegate Kerr. Did you have your hand up?
Just to vote. So I think we had 4 votes to table. Senator Young's motion was to table indefinitely, which means that sometimes it could be definite and we could bring it back. But for now, we're just taking it off the
taking it off the table.
Off the agenda. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's it. That's off the agenda. Yes, Louis Young. Your hand was up.
Thank you. It was up for my vote. I just took it
Oh.
down.
Okay, then it was Delegate Pippy. Your hand was up, or was that the vote? That was the vote hand or a question hand?
Well, I was just going to say the result's going to be the same because there's not 5 votes to approve this as a delegation bill. So the net result is going to be the same. This thing's not moving forward.
Exactly. Okey doke. Let's move on. Next item of business. County Executive Gardner, are you have any other further comments or?
No, thank you. I appreciate that the bill was tabled. I would like for somebody to send me a copy of the bill if there is one, and it may come back in the future. Be nice to actually see it. And I would have on one other topic, Senator Huff said he had an AG opinion on the golf cart bill, that it was enabling. He did share a letter of advice that he had from the AG. I would actually like to have an actual AG formal opinion so that then the county can rely on that should this bill pass.
Yes, Senator Young.
I think we could do that. Unfortunately, opinions, we won't have the opinion while the session's going on in all likelihood, but it would be good to have it on the record.
Well, you know, we have lawyers have a difference of opinion on what this bill does, and sometimes that happens, but we would rely on what the AG says, okay?
Yeah.
But we wouldn't rely on it in a 1-sentence email. We would actually want a formal opinion, and
Yeah.
we did not get that.
And I say we can ask for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a bit confusing. And then we're here for the next agenda item also, which is the transportation priority letter. And we should have Mark Mishler on, who is our transportation planner, to present the letter to you. We have taken this to the municipal leaders. We have taken it to the county council. And so this letter comes to you with their input and concurrence. So Mark is here. I see Council President MC Keegan-Air is here, and we can answer questions after the presentation. Thank you.
All right, the Frederick County Transportation Priorities 2022. Yes.
Thank you, County. Thank you, County Executive Gardner. Good morning, everyone. We'll keep this relatively streamlined. I know you guys have all the materials and been discussing items here for quite a while. We're going to present
Mark, excuse me. Delegate Kirk, can you take over a minute? I have a situation behind me here. Take over, please.
Yes, thank you. Proceed, Mark.
All right, thank you. Here to present to you Frederick County's 2022 Transportation Priorities Letter for the FY23 to FY28 Consolidated Transportation Plan. I'd like to note that Frederick County is looking forward to working with the new Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Ports, who took over in the middle of January. The letter you'll see is very similar to what we've had listed out in previous years. The county is looking for full construction funding for US 15, design and construction funding for I-70 Phase 4, planning and design funding for Maryland 85 Phases 2 and 3, and planning funding for Maryland 194. We'd like to note that we're very appreciative of the most recent CTP that allocated $10.8 million for the full design of the US 15, which has been Frederick County's #1 priority for a number of years. So that was a very positive step that the state made on that one over the past CTP. And we're looking forward to seeing that one move forward along with some of the other items in the corridor, especially the I-70 Phase 4, as that is a direct link to the US 15 project there, where we'll have those lanes coming right into that Phase 4 of I-70. Moving down into our transit priorities, we're staying normal with our previous years. We're requesting the need for increased operating funds to support the county's increasing paratransit demand, increased connector service to 30-minute frequencies due to the high demand we have there, and increase our rural service demand, our increased rural service, as we have a number of residents in Frederick County in rural areas that do not have access to the connectivity features or mobility features that they need through vehicles and everything else like that. So we're looking at operating funds to promote that item. We acknowledge that in the near term, commuter bus service is our best equipped to deal with our needs in Frederick County. However, we're still open to looking into MARC opportunities or other transit opportunities up and down the I-270 corridor that are continually being discussed through the state and local jurisdictions there. Attachment 1 provides further detail into these items. And today, I believe we're looking for a vote of confirmation on these, County Executive. So if you have any questions on the letter or any of the documents here, we're available and willing to answer.
Jan, any comments?
These priorities are similar to what we've had in the past years. The only big change is that we do have the design money for US 15 through the city of Frederick. The debate that happened in the other forums where we discussed this was because we want to get the design money for phase 4 of I-70, should that be first or second, or 15 construction money first or second? But we all agree that we really do need both. So, but other than that, we really feel that this is similar to what we've done in the past. We provided a wealth of information. All the projects are scored, which is now required, has been required for the past few years. So we'd seek your concurrence, and ultimately so that the chair, Delegate Berti, and I can sign this letter and submit it into MDOT as our priorities for the budget that will be created next fall for the following year. So this is what we do every year.
Delegate Kerr. You're muted, my friend.
I move to concur with the county's transportation priorities.
Second.
Second.
Transportation priorities. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Landslide. Transportation
Thank you.
priorities approved.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
Appreciate that. We'll get the letter to you to put your signature on, Delegate Silberti.
Thank you. We'll take care of it. Any other comments or questions? All right. Let's see. Next topic. I am looking at the agenda item here. As far as I see on the agenda, the priorities issue is taken care of. Are there any public comments? That's the next item on the agenda. Well, hold it. Before we go to public comments, does anybody else have anything to add to what has just happened? Yes, Louis Young, Delegate.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that we discuss some protocol standards for the delegation. This whole issue of dropping bills and setting agendas. Before bills are dropped, we either need to agree as a delegation to do that, or the chair or vice chair need to make that call. And also in terms of setting agendas, I don't think anyone but the chair or vice chair should be setting agendas. And as a delegation, we should have the opportunity to add items to the agenda. So I'd like to ask that we set some ground rules going forward so that we don't have just a free-for-all situation here. I mean, I know we're coming up against the deadline to drop bills, but we still need some kind of protocol.
Delegate Cox?
I have a separate issue. I didn't want to interfere with Delegate Lewis Young's discussion. This is not on her point.
Okay. Then hold it for a while. Delegate.
I'll comment on her point.
Right, Senator.
You may change this next administration. Senator Huff and I won't be here, but we have always made a delegate chair of the delegation. So I would think the chair of the delegation on the House side should drop all the bills as delegation bills. And on the Senate side, there's just two. We've always worked that out in terms of interest, so that's not a problem there. But I would think the chair of the delegation should drop all the bills on the House side as delegation bills. But that's your choice too.
That's what's
Yes.
required.
Happy to do that. Yes. Delegate Pippy. Sorry.
And I'll help out here too. So I'll make a motion that the delegation chair, for any bills that there's 5 affirmative votes for, the delegation chair will take the bill, will cross out whomever's name the bill is in and write Frederick County delegation, and will drop that bill on or before February 10th. So if there's not 5 votes, there's not going to be a delegation letter. There's not going to be a delegation bill. Obviously, legislators can still drop a bill, but the chair is going to be notified that it doesn't have the delegation support. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But, 5 affirmative votes, Delegate Siliberti as chair, you would drop it by the 10th, and then you'd cross out whomever's name it's in and write Frederick County delegation on the House side. The Senate, Senator Huff and Young can sponsor. But if that's a motion, if everyone's good with that, just need a second and a vote.
Well, hang on a second. Delegate Cox, your hand is up. Cox?
Well, actually, this is something that is related to the 5-vote issue that has always been there. And so I support Delegate Pippy's motion.
All right. There's a second to Delegate Pippy's motion.
Mr. Chair, I believe that's what the House clerk requires, is that it must be the delegation chair who brings the bill in to make it a delegation bill. So I think that's in practice already.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
I think that's already the practice, is that the delegation chair is the only person from the delegation who can convert a bill to a delegation bill. So I appreciate Delegate Pippy's motion, but I don't think it's necessary.
That wasn't the only part of the motion. It also included the 5 affirmative votes. And the reason I put that in there is because in the past, we would have legislators that would drop bills despite the fact that they didn't receive 5 votes. And so I want to make sure, it would be my preference that we clarify that now so that we're not running into any issues. But yeah, you're correct, Senator or Delegate Kerr, about the clerk. The more important part of that's the 5 affirmative votes.
All right.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. So.
Yes. Would you repeat that, your motion, Delegate Pippy, so we're clear on this?
Sure. So the motion is that
5 votes.
Proceed forward as a delegation bill. There must be 5 affirmative votes from the delegation. If there are 5 affirmative votes, the delegation chair, Delegate Siliberti, will drop that bill on or before February 10th and cross out the name of the sponsor and write Frederick County delegation. And then on the Senate side, Senator Young and Senator Huff can work out the details there.
Okay, that's clear. Delegate Kerr? Your hands up.
That's just because I hadn't dropped it.
Okay. Delegate Cox, same problem or a new issue?
Same issue. This is just for after this motion. I've seconded Delegate Pippy's motion.
All right. Well, your hand was up, so. Good. Well, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. All right, another landslide. Good. Next item. Now Delegate Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to clarify then in this light what we've done today. You'll recall that you'll recall the chair ruled, or the vice chair discussed, and with the chair ruling to basically table Delegate Young's, Delegate Krim's tax bill that Senator Huff also filed with a 4-2. Now, the problem with that is if you pursue that, then your call on killing the sheriff's motion from Senator Huff is wrong. That means Senator Huff's motion passed and his salary is at 150 because we had the same exact vote count. It's an amendment. It's the same thing. It's an amendment. Yes, it is. It's an amendment. And so when you're looking at amendments, you've got to do the same thing is all I'm saying. Otherwise, we have this nebulous thing where Senator Huff's motion amendment was killed on a 4-2 positive vote. And yet Delegate Kerr's motion to table a tax bill that is filed and that, our good delegate friend is not here. I'm not sure if she's feeling well or what the issue is, but this is her bill. I don't think we should be making, amendment decisions differently. If we're going to have a 4-2 vote to pass an amendment, then it needs to be consistent. And I would move that we correct that today.
Senator Young.
It's a delegation rule that it takes 5 votes to pass something for legislation. Robert's Rules of Order, I believe, says that a majority is good on a table vote. So we're not violating any rules. They both are the rules.
I'd like to see that sent around, that how is it that you can pass an amendment for tabling on a 4-2, but not other amendments? I mean,
I just explained that. One is a delegation rule. The other is Robert's rules.
Yeah, I'd like to see the delegation rules on that because I don't think we should make up rules as we go. And honestly,
we didn't
change from Robert's rules and to delegation rules back and forth in the middle of a vote doesn't seem something genuine.
We didn't change any rules. Just as Delegate Pippy pointed out earlier, it takes 5 votes to make it a delegation rule. Otherwise, we abide by Robert's rules.
Yeah.
That
Lewis
was
Young, Delegate Lewis Young. Yes. Delegate Lewis Young. You're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, thanks. Computer isn't always responsive. I do recall the delegation voting on the 5-person rule. It was at the very beginning of my term as chair of the delegation. Senator Huff brought that forward, that we should not put a delegation bill forward unless there were 5 votes. So we did that well over a year ago. I'm going to recommend that perhaps we all review Robert's rules because there was some discussion earlier about whether you can amend an amendment. And my recollection of Robert's rules is that, yes, you can. So maybe we all ought to do a quick refresher before our next meeting.
And or have a parliamentarian with us, or both. All right, any further comments? Delegate Cox, your hand is up. Delegate Cox?
Yeah, no, I disagree. I think there's confusion and I think we need to re-examine this. Delegate Kerr's exact words were, we only need a 4-2 vote for an amendment to pass. So that means Delegate Senator Huff's amendment to give the sheriff $150,000 salary passed because we had a 4-2 vote. And in the middle of the stream of things, in the middle of the stream of the discussion, Senator Young is saying that we can shift back and forth to the Robert's rules if we wish to do that. And at least that's the way I'm hearing it.
No.
And that just creates confusion. And I think we need to have some clarity on amendments so that if we have an amendment and it's a 4-2, and it passes for one, it should pass for other amendments.
Well, there's the Robert's rules, and then there's the delegation. That's what Senator Young has pointed out, correct, Senator?
Yeah. Yes. Robert's rules rule, unless you make a delegation rule change, which we did on that item.
Where is it though? I've never received those changes or any delineation of those rules. So that's where I think it's a little disingenuous, because in the middle of a stream of discussion and voting, all of a sudden we're changing from the delegation rules to an alleged
No.
Roberts rules, and that's my concern.
This is not what I'm understanding.
It's specifically Robert's rules unless the delegation makes a change for something, which we did make. And I think everybody was there when we did it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Delegate Kerr.
Delegate Cox, my motion was that my comment was that it only takes a simple majority to table a motion. It had nothing to do with an amendment.
Bingo. Simple majority to table the motion, correct? All right,
I think it
Where we
was
had-
tabling a bill indefinitely. Am I mistaken?
That was the motion.
It was a motion to table, not an amendment.
So a motion to table, and that's what I'm hearing Senator Young say, has a different standard than a motion to amend.
You have that backwards. A motion for delegation support has a different standard.
Well, the motion to amend was a simple majority as well. That's why I'm pointing that out. So if maybe Senator Young said this was a different change accepted by the delegation, I would just like to see those and when it happened, if someone could circulate that.
all right, we can get that circulated. In the interest of time and moving on. Any other comments on this point? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Madam.
It's,
Lucia.
that meeting, our very first meeting of the 2021 session, it will be in your meeting notes, the next meeting. And unless you erased it, everyone should have a copy of that.
Delegate Cox, do you recollect that? Delegate Cox?
I don't think there's any comprehensive explanation of the rules for motions sent around. I haven't seen that, so I'd like to see it. And when we switch from a delegation rule to a Roberts rules that someone pulls out at the, it would be nice to know what the procedures are. That's all.
Well, I think we've gone over this
I
several
don't know how to
times.
explain it any clearer.
Senator Young's explained it at least 4 times, like if my addition's correct. So given that, let's move on to another topic, another issue. Thank you very much. What's up? What else did you have on the agenda? Because right now, the Frederick County
Don't believe-
Transportation Priorities is it. Sorry, Delegate Kerr.
I think we're up to public comment. I don't know that anyone has signed up for public comment. Perhaps someone.
Well, I'd asked for public comment earlier on. Perhaps I jumped the gun. Well, we'll try it again. Public comment or comments relative to this august group and everything we've discussed today. Okay. Any other business that you'd like to put on the table? The next item under that's adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Amen. Thank you very much, all of you. Good day.